What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As you can see, got the front end of the WRX all put back together. It's pretty much ready for paint at this point. What we're gonna do today is get started on the back. Alright, so what I'm gonna try and do is, as you can see, this thing's the body's kind of pushed in the back in this corner. So I want to try and pull this out as best I can, and then I have a spot weld dent puller that I'm going to use to try and perfect it. But it's pushed in on this corner and then a little bit on this corner. I really would love to see, you know, exactly how this accident happened, because there was no impact on the rear reinforcement bar, which is kind of weird. It's like as if the car was spinning and hit 3 of the 4 corners. Not really sure how that happened, but I guess we'll never know. Alright, so here's my idea. I have an eyelet bolt that I've welded shut. I have a washer on the end. And my plan is to drill a hole through the body here where it's pushed in, and I'll go ahead and, you know, I'll weld that and patch that later on. But what I'll do is put this through the hole with the washer on the back side and pull the body out with a chain. So, not sure if this is going to work, but here goes nothing. Alright, so we're starting to run out of daylight here, but since that worked really good on the other side, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to this side and get it straightened out, and then the rest I should be able to do with a slide hammer. Alright, so since that worked really good, what we're going to do now is I have a spot weld dent puller. Basically how this works is you have these little pins that go inside of here, and then you spot weld these to the body, and then once you do that, you have a slide hammer that will grab onto those studs, and you can slowly work it out, pull dents out, and kind of perfect it. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do now. I'm going to sort of just work on this whole corner here. I'm going to go ahead and clean all this up, because you need to have bare metal in order for this to make a good contact, just like any welder. And once I kind of get this fixed up, I'm going to start working on the actual quarter panel here. I have, you know, 2 dents here, I have a dent up here, and a dent up here that I'm going to have to work on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. so now I kind of got this how I want it. So what I want to go ahead and do now is start working on the quarter panel, the stuff that you're actually going to see from the outside. This stuff I'm not as worried about because it's going to be hidden. I'm still going to go ahead and use some body filler on this and make it look as good as I can, but this is the stuff that I'm really concerned about. So let's see if we can get all these dents out and get this looking nice and straight. All right, so I didn't really show it on the camera, but this spot here, from the impact, it was kind of absorbed, the way that the quarter panel absorbed the impact, this kind of dented out. So what I did here was I took my body hammer and just kind of pounded it down in and created a lot of little small dents, which I'm then going to go ahead and fill with body filler, sand it down, and that should hopefully look pretty good when I'm done. The rest of these are, I got them pretty flat. This one I may have to pull back out a little bit more, but I think what I'm going to do is mix up some filler and go ahead and put that on and sand it down and see what we got.
So what I'm gonna do now that I got this kind of rough sanded, I'm gonna lay down some guide coat, which is gonna allow me to see where my high and low spots are. And that'll tell me how much more body filler I need to apply and how much more sanding I need to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now.
Perfect, 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 perfect.
All right, so I definitely applied that guide coat a little bit too thick. It was clogging up my paper. It's kind of a pain, but nonetheless, you can clearly see I still have some low spots, you know, here, a couple here, you know, and these two here. I still need to keep building these up. So I'm gonna go ahead and do another round of body filler, and then we'll reapply a guide coat and sand her down and see what we got.
Alright guys, so after about 4 rounds of filler, sanding, more filler, sanding, we finally got a nice smooth surface. You know, I kind of had to build this up here and sand it down, you know, block it down. So at this point, it's ready for some, you know, I'm going to spray a high build primer on it, block that down. I also went ahead and got this side all pulled out, applied my body filler, sanded that down. It looks pretty good. I got my emblems off, got that sanded down. The only other, there was a little dent here that I filled. I'm going to sand that down, and then pretty much the rest of the car I'm going to go ahead and scuff it all up and get it ready for paint. Like I said, I'm going to apply some primer to some of these spots, but the rest of the car I'm just going to scuff up, spray my base coat right over top of it, and that's about it.
So with that being said, that is going to be it for today. If you like the content, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. Once again, next video, I'm going to be prepping this thing for paint, so stay tuned.